I have helped with software process improvement in many companies, large and small, over the past 15 years, and the question of where to start with the process improvement always comes up. So let's look at the best way to start software process improvement, and let me give you 4 practical steps that you can go through while still watching this video. You may have tried to establish the software processes by yourself and the effort has failed or slowly vanished, but if you do this one initial point that I'm going to show you right, then you will be able to deliver the remaining processes with much less resistance from the team. The standards, the processes, the process frameworks, there is so much of it out there. When you first look at a standard, it gives you like 50 different things, like software requirements. Of course you need a software requirements process. Testing, of course you need a software testing process, but you cannot do all of that at the same time. You still have running projects that you need to deliver in the first place, so your time is limited, and very probably your budget for the project is also limited, let alone the budget for the software process improvement itself. So to make it easier, let's change the question. So instead of asking which process to start with or which process to deploy first, let's ask, what do you want to really achieve with your first software process? There might be many reasons why you want to improve your software processes or establish them in the first place. The reasons might be like you want to be more competitive, you want to apply for more lucrative projects, and you want to put there that you do have software process established indeed, and so when you create something, when you create a product, it will be a good quality product. Or it might be that you have a lot of projects coming in and you need to be able, with the same amount of people as you currently have, absorb those projects and deliver on time. When it comes to efficiency of your team, the secret sauce that I found is called the structured communication. So imagine for a while that your team internally, all the developers, all the testers, they are all aligned on the way how they will design the software, how they will test the software, which exact features it will have, and the same thing with your customers. So all the details were agreed, all the details were written down, they are approved from both sides, and basically the software development itself is just a linear work. It's just to do what has been designed and pre-approved. You can check it for yourself. Just go on Google and try to type top 5 reasons why software projects fail. You will hit a lot of blogs, and I bet that most of those blogs will have communication in the first 5 top reasons why software projects fail. But the problems of those blogs is that they don't explain actually what communication really is or what sort of communication they really mean. So we don't mean the communication by the coffee machine, which is, so it's sort of important, okay, but it's not the type of communication that will save your project. I'm talking about a structured communication, about the exact items or pieces of information that needs to be either communicated verbally or written down somewhere, but they need to be there and they need to be communicated, and both sides, you and your customers, need to be aligned on those items if you want to avoid the troubles ahead. So having the right process for supporting the structured communication in your team will actually help you to avoid that awkward moment in a project when for 3 months everything goes well, but then you ask the developers, okay, so how is it progressing? How far are we from the delivery? And I will tell you, well, we actually don't understand what customer really means by these and these, exact features. How do they want to have it? We need to have more details to be able to implement it. And then you will see like, whoa, this should have been specified like months ago. And those few small details that they don't understand may easily break your plans. So let me show you what worked very well for me in my projects to support a structured communication to avoid that later chaos. So I always recommend to my customers the document review process as the first process to be established. And let me first tell you why it works so well in practice, and then I will give you 4 exact steps that you can start doing while still watching this video. So, for example, when I got my first contract for the software process improvement, the team that I joined here in Sweden was a very small software team. It was in the space industry, and they didn't have a clear picture of where to start, let alone like the sequence of process improvement. So I gave them the document review process as the first one, and they were very happy to see the first process in place until the moment when they had to practically take that process and start to use it. So there were like 2 or 3 sort of tough meetings where I showed them, okay, this is how the review should go, this is how to do it efficiently, so you don't spend too much time on the reviews. But once they got it, once they saw that it works and they repeated it like 2 or 3 times, it became a second nature for the team. And for every next document that they have produced, the thought about the review was always there. It was like a natural part of the process. In fact, in 2 years that I was there with that company, the document review process was the only one that spread through the entire company, and almost every department started to use it. And here is why. So number one, the process was easy to deploy. So when you start with a very complex, very heavy, stiff process, people will try to find like every opportunity to skip that process, to cut the corners, to justify it by deadlines or by whatever else, just not to follow the process, okay? Versus if you give them simple process that is very easy to follow, very easy to understand, there are just like 2 or 3 steps, people will start to almost naturally complement that process. They will start to improve it by themselves. They will try to find the points how to improve it. So start simple, improve later. Point number 2 is that the document review process creates consensus. So when you are reviewing the document, you get all of those comments from the reviewers, and that's just the first step. The more important step than that is to agree what they will do with those comments. So let's say someone doesn't agree with the way how the design has been done. Suddenly there are 2 sides, every side saying like the design should have been done in a different way, and you need to be somehow able to resolve that process, to somehow settle the way forward. And by doing that, you will create a consensus in a team. And that's the same when you are talking to the customer, that's the same when the team is talking internally. So it creates a consensus. And that's the big thing. So we can communicate as much as we want. We can deploy as many communication tools as we want, the chat, emails, whatever it is. But if in that communication process you don't create a consensus, if you don't align the 2 sides, then the whole communication is very, very inefficient, and it will stay in the domain of opinions and everyone running in a different direction. Point number 3 is that by doing the review, and especially like a structured review, if you support your reviews by the checklists, you can check that all pieces of information that should be there are there. So the document has all of the sections that it should have. And it's not about sections, and it's not about the structure of the documents, it's about communicating those pieces of information that historically brought the most values to the team. So you can find them in the standards, for example. The people that created the standards, they know why they put all of those information there. And if you use it, it's very likely that the customers will not come up next week with like 50 different emails, trying to clarify different questions. And then it will be this usual communication chaos where some people know some part of the information, another team knows another part of the information, they are not aligned, and we've all been in that chaos. And the last point is for you as a manager. So when you are reading the reports from the reviews, you will immediately see the gap. So you will see how far you are from the actual delivery. If you will see 50 comments on a single document, then that says, something is like really, really wrong with that document. We should get back to the drawing board, settle the disputes, settle the designs or testing or whatever you are trying to do. And then we are in the position to deliver. But at least the report will give you the indication how far you are. Maybe you will only get like a few formal comments, like add the document number or restructure the section, things like this, which are very, very small comments. And it actually tells you that you are in a very, very good shape. You are very close to delivery. If you look at any industrial software standard out there, you will find that reviews are almost like the one thing which is almost everywhere across the standard. So when you write the requirement specifications, do the review. When you write test specifications, do the review. When you write your project plans, do the review. And next to the review is of course the approval, so you are creating the baselines. But the review will create actually the consensus that what is in the document, it's complete and it's correct. It's interesting that we spend a lot of time testing the software code, but when it comes to the documents, the specifications, the design, the test reports, we don't invest the time. So it's like we are trying to build a software on the foundations that are many times not approved, they are not aligned between the sides, it's not very good feeling for the team. Okay, so let's start writing the invitation email. The invitation email for the review has one crucial part. Don't miss that, because it will make the whole process of reviewing the document very, very inefficient. Let me show you. So we'll open a new Outlook. It will be the review of the ICD, the interface description document. Hello, let me invite you for the review of the interface control document. This is very important. It's not the most important point, but it's very important. You must state the version of the document so that everyone is reviewing the same version of the document. I don't know how many reviews I have seen where people were reviewing different sort of documents. They come up with all different comments, and then we found out, oh, but you were reviewing the old version. Actually, we have the newer version. So if you want to avoid, state the version of the document and place the document somewhere in the common location together with the review report, so people know exactly what to review. Okay, so we state it's an interface control document version 2. Now comes the magic point. The comments must be collected before the review meeting, not during the review meeting. If you do this one step right, and the people will understand, they will get it, that they need to provide the comments before the review meeting, that they need to find 5 minutes of their time to go through the document, to collect the review comments that they have, put them in a common review report, and then the meeting is for reviewing the comments rather than for collecting them, you will be in a very, very good position. The whole thing will be very, very efficient and everyone will have a good feeling with it. Otherwise, people will come to your review meeting with the coffee in their hands and they will say, oh, I thought, we will just look at the document and just go through it and we will come with all sorts of comments. But that's too late. When do you want to settle the dispute, the different opinions on those comments, right? So collect the review comments before the meeting and make that, like, if you want, make that bold-faced and underlined, and even like send another invitation or another email where you will stress that one single point. Okay, review board. You need to have a few roles, you want to have a few roles. So you, first of all, who will do the review? So the reviewers, and you name John, Jack, whoever you think is a good reviewer. Another role that you will need is approver, and that might be you. So that's the role that will actually, once all of the comments are processed, the document is updated, you will check it and you will approve the document before you release it to the customer. And there you might have like different additional roles. Some teams prefer to have checker roles, so separate person who will check that the comments were actually implemented in the right way. There might be a quality assurance step, so the quality assurance role that will check the formalities of the document, that you have copyrights, that you have the document number, that you have the document title, all the tables are in the same sort of format. So you might have the QA role and you will say who's that. But this is all additional. So start with the reviewers and the approver. And over the time you can add additional roles according to how your team will want to improve the process. Okay, and then set the date of the review. So date is, 22nd of April, 2025. Whatever the date is. Kind regards, right? So 2 most important points. First of all, state the version of the document that you are going to review. And the second one is stress that the review meeting is actually for reviewing the review comments, not for collecting them. Okay, so during the review meeting, you will go through the comments and you will accept them, reject them, setting the action, things like that. But the actual review comments, those need to be collected before the meeting. Now, step number 2, put the document and the review template in some common shared location where everyone can access it and they can contribute their review comments. So it might be a SharePoint folder, it might be a shared drive, whatever that is, where everyone has access. It will save you a tons of time of collecting the review comments from the emails or from the chat. Now, before the review meeting, let the people collect the review comments. It doesn't need to be a template like this. It can be any other template. A simple Excel sheet will do as well. The text file will do as well. If you are using Confluence or any other online system, that will do as well. So whatever you are using, just create an empty file and preferably like put a few columns there, like which page is the comment about, who did the comment, so you can address the right person, and then the comment itself and the action. So something like this. And let the people collect all of the comments in a single table. It will save you a lot of time. Now, the next step is the actual review meeting, where you will sit with your team around the table, preferably, or in the online meeting, it doesn't matter. You will share the screen and you will show this exact table to the whole team. And then you will go comment by comment and you will start to settle what is the action. You will start to define the action. You will start to define when the action should be done. Maybe it can be postponed. Maybe it should be implemented like directly. So this is the review meeting itself. Just go over the comments, accept or reject, and set the action for each comment. And for you as a manager, as we said, that will be a great indication of how far you are from the actual document delivery. And then the last step, and that's by far the longest part, is the actual update. So once you set the actions for the comments, someone will need to go over those actions that you have set and implement those changes into the document. Someone will need to check it that, yes, indeed, the comments were implemented correctly. And once that is done, then you as an approver can, sign the document, and the document is good to go for the delivery. So I hope you have enjoyed watching this tutorial, and now it's time for you to open your email client, Outlook, whatever you are using, and start writing the invitation email for your first review meeting. Don't forget to keep the review meeting short and try to avoid collecting the review comments during the meeting. The meeting is for reviewing the review comment, accepting them or rejecting them, and then setting the action points, not for collecting them. It will be very good for the efficiency of your team. Once you do the review meeting 2 times or 3 times, it will almost come naturally to your team that once they produce the document, they will think about the review. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe. There are more tutorials like this coming. Let me know in the comments below how it went with your first review meeting, and I will see you in the next video.